Allison Ellsworth. I am founder and chief of brand at Poppi.
I want to start with one of the biggest accomplishments probably for any company that you could have, which is Poppi had a Super Bowl commercial.
We did.
Amazing. What was that like for you?
So it's one of those moments that I don't think you can even realize could happen. And when it did, I'm still, I'll be honest, in shock. This was literally a few days ago that this happened. But I just feel like this is where you're not really a startup anymore, right? We're an emerging brand. We are here. We are saying something. We have a message, and Super Bowl is a perfect platform to do that.
And it wasn't just any Super Bowl. The 2024 Super Bowl was the most watched television event in the US. What does it feel like to have so many eyeballs on your product and getting to know what you do?
So not only was it the most watched Super Bowl, we know why, everyone was there for a certain reason, Miss T Swift, but our spot in our location that we hit was 1 minute before halftime. And for me, I love halftime show, I love the commercials, I live for it all. But we were 1 minute before halftime, and we were the most viewed Super Bowl ad as well. So could it be safe to say we were one of the most viewed and the most highly viewed Super Bowl of all time? It's kind of surreal.
That is surreal, considering your company is still kind of in the baby toddler stages. It's amazing that you guys have reached this level of success. But let's start from the beginning. Poppi wasn't always Poppi. It was called Mother, right? Tell me about how you came up with this product.
So I came up with this in my kitchen because a few years ago I had some health problems. I didn't feel very good, and I discovered drinking apple cider vinegar could, help reset, detox your body type of vibes. And it was one of those things where I started drinking it and I loved the way it made me feel, but I hated the taste. So I went to my kitchen and I created, at the time it was called Mother, now Poppi, and I wanted to create something that was healthy and tasted good. So if you think about it, those two things don't typically go together. And I loved it, and I started sharing it with other people. We took it to the local farmers market. We were discovered by Whole Foods there. And I remember being there with my husband, who's the other co-founder. I was 3 months pregnant. We had just bought a house, and she walked up to me and she was like, "You guys need to be in Whole Foods." At that moment, I realized we had a business. At that time, it was a passion, right? A passion project. And we took our life savings and we put everything into it, and we went all in from that moment on, and then went on to Shark Tank.
That's amazing. Have you always been creating stuff in your kitchen? Like, what is your background? Is it food sciences? Is it drinks? Is it marketing?
So my background is more on the creative side. So I grew up dancing, and a lot of people are like, what does that have to do with what you do at Poppi? But it's producing, creating in your mind. I see like a production at the end of the day, and it's like, how do we get there? And then a huge passion of mine is spending as much time as I can in the kitchen. So I love cooking for my family. I love hosting meals and parties for friends, and it was just one of those things that I've always been raised with, like a yes mentality of like, say yes, figure it out later. So there was nothing out there, and so I just created it. And I know that sounds kind of bananas, but I just went for it and did it, and that's just the type of mindset I've always had, just figure it out.
Initially, when you were telling friends and family you were creating this drink, were they like, wow, that's amazing and really forward thinking, or were they like, what are you doing?
Oh, it was like, Allison, you're crazy. Like, really, my family is very supportive. Like, my dad's an entrepreneur, my sister's an entrepreneur, but I will be honest, when I was like, hey guys, try this soda replacement. Oh, by the way, it has prebiotics, it's good for you, 5 grams of sugar. They were all like, what is this? Like, soda isn't supposed to be good for you, right? So I remember at Thanksgiving just like sharing it with my family, and then once they tried it, they were like, wow, this tastes amazing. And so that's been like our number one goal at Poppi, is like trial, get people to try it, then they understand it, brand awareness, right type of situation. So it's always been, hence Super Bowl, why we did it. The more people that know about it want to try it, because it's it's the future.
It is. Talk to me about Shark Tank. How did that all come about?
So I've always said, from my kitchen to Shark Tank to retailers nationwide, it's one of those moments in the American dream that you do, right? You go on Shark Tank if you have an idea. I watched every single show. It was one of those moments where we were at the point of we needed capital, right? We needed some kind of funds into the company. And I've always heard, like, don't take stupid money, right? Don't just take money if you can't have some kind of relationships or they can build on it or something. So next step in the American dream is Shark Tank.
What was that experience like? Because that is very intimidating to be on that show.
It is, and I was one of the, I think, naive people that thought everyone just went to a tryout and you just stood in line and you pitched your little heart out, and so that's what we did. I remember it was like the first time I had gotten a babysitter with our firstborn. We went and stood in line and we were so excited. We'd been practicing our pitch. We got past that level, and then little did we know it was 6 more months of tryouts and paperwork and understanding the back end of it to get finally onto the show. And it's so secretive, the whole process, but it changed my life.
And who was the shark that ended up investing in you?
So it was wonderful. It was almost like meant to be. His name is Rohan Oza, and he's a guest shark, and he's one of the sharks that is known for beverage. So he's behind some other amazing brands, like he helped on the marketing brand with Bai and Vitamin Water, and he used to be at Coke. Like, he's been in the beverage world, and now he has one of the leading, like, better for you venture capital firms called KHOU, who is our lead investor. And he's just really believed in us since the beginning. But he told us after getting the deal, he goes, look, you have a great story, you have a great, fantastic product, it tastes amazing, but your branding sucks. We need to go through a rebrand.
And tell me about that rebrand. Is that when Mother became Poppi?
It is. So we went through the process. We got a deal on Shark Tank. We said, okay, we need to do some brand work. So we ended up taking the decision of pulling back distribution for about 9 months. And we did a rebrand. We were like, do we do white cans? Do we do colored cans? What is our messaging? What is the name? And we landed on Poppi, and Poppi is a play off of soda pop. It pops off the shelf, it makes you happy, and Poppi, right? So it was an easy change once we landed on it.
I think one of the most genius things about the can is it is so colorful and it's bright and it looks fun, and it really catches your eye. Even if you've never tried about it or you weren't thinking about it, you're walking down the grocery aisle and it just sort of grabs your attention. You guys did a really great job with that. Was that the intention, to be fun and colorful and out there?
Yeah, so when we first did this, a lot of better for you products, if you think about it, they're usually white, like healthy halo white. And no one had really played in this world of like fun and flavor and function is what we always say. And it's one of those things that it was kind of riskier at the time. It definitely paid off because we're such a fun, vibrant brand. It's really connected with the next generation of soda drinkers. Yeah, why we're so successful on TikTok. And people want to match their outfits with our cans. We won awards for our cans, right? It's like they want to outfits, makeup. It's just like really fun. So, and then on top of it, color screams flavor, right? It's juicy flavor. And at the end of the day, if you want to be a soda, you have to taste amazing.
I want to talk to you about being TikTok famous. That's really kind of how you guys blew up. And this was what, in 2020, during the pandemic. So everybody, you know, is in their homes trying to figure stuff out, and you've got this sort of healthy alternative to soda. How are you able to build your audience on TikTok? What do you think was the most important thing for you to do on there?
So it's interesting. I downloaded the app like everyone in 2020, like you said. And it was one of those moments that we were desperate to find a way to connect with our community because we launched Poppi March of 2020, right when COVID hit.
Wow.
So there was no in real life sampling, no more events, right? Everything, the traditional ways of marketing were off the table. So I was like, I gotta think differently. And all of a sudden there's this new platform called TikTok. People were dancing, doing different things on it, but I said there has to just be more here. It's almost, I saw it as this wild, wild west hack that no brands were taking advantage of at the time. So I said, hey, I'm not gonna take any resources from the company. I'm gonna get on and just start posting and testing. And after about 3 months of trying multiple things, from dancing, yes, I danced, to recipes, to talking about, you know, the story, I really one day sat down on Friday night and I told my story of how I started Poppi, and I just hit post and I went to bed. And I woke up the next day and we did over $100,000 on Amazon while we were sleeping.
Wow.
And that video now has over 90 million views. And it just opened our eyes to this platform of being real and authentic, connecting with our consumer on just such like an organic level that I don't think a lot of brands had done before. And we've leaned in since. I mean, we have over 2 billion views on TikTok, and I'm still making probably 50 pieces of content a month, if not more.
You know, it's not just consumers or, you know, your average consumer. You have a lot of celebrities who follow you and who have now invested in the company. Tell me about how those came about, and what's that like for you when someone like Olivia Munn is like, I'd like to invest in Poppi? That's huge.
It's so major, and it's one of those things where, look, we are such an authentic brand, so we tend to go to people that already love and drink the product. So we do a lot of seeding, so we send out a ton of Poppi, and if these celebrities organically post us or talk about us in an interview, that's when we reach out and we say, hey, you're already a fan, would you like to be part of the Poppi family? And it makes for a better connection versus slapping a celebrity on the brand, which is not as authentic. It's like, that's kind of like what you did maybe like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's not really, there's a new age of influencers, being authentic and real. So a lot of our investors, they were people that drank Poppi before, reached out to us, to your point, and so it's still like weird when I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm online, I get 15 texts in the morning that Kylie Jenner just posted Poppi organically or for free, but it's because Poppi is such a cultural first brand, and we're so part of this like Gen Z, TikTok culture first, that we're the modern soda from the next generation, and we're seeing it.
I find it interesting that at first glance, when you look at the ingredients and the product, you think you would market this as a health product. But I feel like you are trying to market this as the next soda, and you're sort of trying to disrupt an industry that is well established. We've got Coke and Pepsi products, and you're going for that. That's pretty ambitious. Is that the end goal, to kind of disrupt the soda industry, not the health foods industry, but the soda industry?
Yeah, so our mission at Poppi is to revolutionize soda for the next generation. And there's a lot that goes into that. So if you think of soda, it's an emotional connection people usually have with that word and that product. So they think of movies, they think of their childhood or parties or fishing or time with their friends, but the world has changed and big soda struggled to keep up, right? People want that full flavor, but they don't want it with all the baggage of the excess sugar, the artificial ingredients. And so that's what Poppi delivers. We give people the freedom to love soda again at its best without all of that negative fake ingredients, right? And so that is like our key positioning, is going after big soda, right? 5 grams of sugar versus 39 grams of sugar, all clean ingredients versus artificial ingredients, right? So it's one of those things that I think even big soda's eyes are going to open up and say, look, this is the future of where we're going and what Poppi is. So we are seeing it too. We're one of the fastest growing beverages in the nation. We're the #1 selling soda on Amazon. We outsell all the big guys. Wow. And we've been that, and we're seeing it within this awakening within Gen Z and even millennial moms, right? Like me as a mom, like I want my kids to drink Poppi and grow up with Poppi, not big soda.
You have young kids. You let them drink Poppi?
I do. Of course. Yeah. Oh yeah. My 1-year-old. I mean, it's was like a second word.
That's so sweet. How do you come up with these amazing flavors?
So still to this day, me and my husband make all the flavors. So we play in the kitchen on the weekends. We like our cherry limeade. We're here in Texas, right? So I made this I grew up going to Sonic, right? Yeah. And I was like, oh, I want a better for you product. So I made the cherry limeade in 2 days over the weekend because it was something that I was craving at the end of the day. So we still lean in, we have a lot more fun. Now we're launching, more traditional flavors like our cola and our root beer and our Doc Pop. But, we're just still have wild and have fun with it.
Still creating in the kitchen. That's awesome. The criticism from health experts is that, apple cider vinegar is not a probiotic per se. So what is the probiotic in the drink?
Yeah, so it's actually, there's 2 different things. So there's a probiotic, like what you said, but we're a prebiotic.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the differences between pro and pre, probiotic is like a living culture, and prebiotic is the easiest way to say it is just it's fiber.
Okay.
So we have agave inulin in our products, which is about 2 grams of fiber, and then with it we do still have the apple cider vinegar in it. But to your point, there's not a ton of evidence on the health properties with apple cider vinegar. It depends on that person. So we don't make any crazy claims. We do not put out there that it's going to heal anything or do anything crazy. At the end of the day, it's just a better for you product that's better than big soda. And we're seeing that's working really well with our consumer, right? People pick up the can, they go, oh, this is really cute.
Yeah.
And they taste it and they say, wow, this tastes amazing. And then they flip the can over and say, oh my gosh, and it's good for me. And that's really the way that we want to be seen, because I think if you become too much of like a niche product and you're claiming all these things, it's just, I don't know. I don't love doing stuff like that. So at the end of the day, Poppi is just a better for you product or soda that tastes amazing.
I think consumers have connected with your authenticity, and I want to talk to you more about being an entrepreneur. And there's the high of highs, there's the Super Bowl commercial, and then there's the low lows. Tell me a little bit about your journey and maybe some of the hurdles you and your husband had to overcome.
I think like as even a female entrepreneur, 90% of the time I'm in a room and I'm the only woman. And so learning through the years how to even navigate that and how to speak differently and how to be in control without seeming mad, right? There's so many things that we like go up against, but I think at the end of the day, I've surrounded myself around really amazing people that have like uplifted and been really great mentors and understanding how to navigate that. But it's not easy. At the end of the day, I have 3 kids at home. I'm traveling constantly, but these are so like, I think in this time of a problem that I just try to stay positive. I'm one of those people that's like, I'll sleep later. I'm not the best with self-care, I'll be honest, type of situation. My goal for this year is to sleep more. But you know, I mean, when we first started out, we live here in Texas. I'll never forget, we had our own manufacturing facility that had no AC. Our car broke, AC. It was like hot during the farmers markets. There was times where we were working second jobs and doing all that stuff to get there to Super Bowl commercial. Like I said, it truly does feel like the American dream. So I just feel very blessed that we're here. But oh boy, it's been a road.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, taking your life savings and putting it into a product, how scary was that?
It was extremely scary. I even went to like my sister, my dad, and borrowed money, and which is another layer of stress of like, okay, you don't typically want to do that with family, but I mean, you kind of just do what you have to do at that point. I remember, we sold one of our cars to do a manufacturing run. Like there were so many different things that we did back then, but look, in March, it'll be 4 years. I would love to say that we're not like a startup anymore. We're an emerging brand. And so like all of that hard work, blood, sweat, tears, lots of tears, just going through and learning and navigating has been, I think, a life lesson that I'm continuing to grow. And I think throughout all this as an entrepreneur, along the way, you learn to kind of get over your ego, right? Because we've had to bring in people that know more than us and surround ourselves by people that can really grow with the business. So for example, you know, we brought in a CEO this year. That wasn't easy to be like, look, this is our baby.
Yeah.
We're letting go of this and learning to work together. But the best decision we ever made, because he had done this before, and we want to see the Poppi go further and have a lot of success. So I think as entrepreneurs, a big piece of advice that I always give is, you know, don't let your ego get the best of you. Learn to work and be a true leader with others, and you're going to be a lot more successful at the end.
Was there ever a point, because I think this happens with a lot of people who are starting businesses, where you were like, this is not going to happen, or what are we doing? This is insane. Turn back now. U-turn. Let's get out of here. Was there really? Okay.
Well, I mean, if you think of it, we launched Poppi, especially March of 2020, right when COVID. We were a canned beverage during an aluminum shortage. Like, it was so capital intensive, and having to constantly be raising money, and like where you're so focused on that, you can't run the business. And at some point they were just like, are we gonna make it, are we not? But is what's kind of kept us going is our community. And that special connection is like, our community is insane. Like if someone says one bad thing about Poppi, it's like they'll do 10 comments of how much they love it. Like we don't even have to like defend ourselves with anything anymore. And the connection that they've had with us is just like on such like a different level. Our engagement rate on socials is like 5x what any other brand is seeing. And just, I mean, it's just fun. It's special. So the low lows, like you were saying, the highs are so much higher that I almost like forget about the lows. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's important for other entrepreneurs and women entrepreneurs to hear, because it's hard when, you feel like everything is stacked against you and you have those moments where you're like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I should just stop. But that's really encouraging, especially for folks who are going to hear this. I think you answered all of my questions. I guess, okay, I saw the slogan on your website, from Texas to your taste buds with love. Are you proud to be a Texas-based company, and how has that been advantageous to you?
I've always said Texans love Texans. So I truly feel like starting the company here in Texas was a huge part of why we're successful, because Texans support Texans. And on top of it, there's not a lot of better for you products that come out of Texas, right? You usually see that on the West Coast or the East Coast, but we're in the heartland, which heartland is soda at the end of the day. And some of our best markets are middle America, people that love soda. And so I'm super blessed and so excited that I'm a Texas girl and that Poppi is from Texas.
That's awesome. What's the ultimate goal? What is the dream that's formulating in your head for your brand?
I think for me, it's to be a generational brand that my kids are proud of. And we're seeing that happening on just the scale of being able to do the Super Bowl and the amount of people learning about it and brand awareness and trials. So I think for me, it's just continuing on this road, growing, taking over big soda, and just having Poppi truly be soda for the next generation.
That's awesome. Any advice you have, to young women who are maybe watching this, who are hoping to maybe be in your shoes one day with the product that they love?
So there's two things that I love to give for advice. One is, if you're starting a company, get online and start posting now. Don't wait till the product's done. Don't wait till it's perfect. Get your community involved. Ask them, what color should I do? What do you like, this type of packaging, right? Get that community involved now. And if you have 200 views, do not let that discourage you, because now I have 2 billion views, right? So that's really important as entrepreneurs. And then I think as a leader, adaptability is really important. Change is a good thing. And if you look at it as a good thing, you're going to be a lot more adaptable. You'll be able to do things quicker, be part of culture, and not being so stuck in the process. It's also more fun.
It's really good advice. Thank you so much. You were so inspiring, and this is wonderful. And thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.